Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a lovely week so far. My name is Emmy. If you're new here, I cover new dramas every Wednesday, and I just basically give my review of what I'm watching, what I like, what I don't like. And so, if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, I'm going to be covering two dramas, and these are two dramas that I really like. I am currently watching, and they are currently on air. I feel like a lot of people that listen to my podcast expected me to cover our Unwritten Soul again this week because the last two episodes did air over the weekend. But honestly, I kind of don't wanna. I feel like this is my toxic trait. I will sometimes watch a drama up to like the last two episodes or up to like the end. And because I know how the end is, I just won't watch the last two episodes. So I might still decide to cover this. Just to like tie this all up neatly in a bow since I have been covering it for the last few weeks previous to this. So, stay tuned. Maybe next week I will cover it. But in this episode, that's not the case. In this episode, I'm going to cover two other different dramas. Like I said, they are currently on air. And I have to say these two dramas are completely different from one another. One is Head Over Heels, which is kind of like an high school drama, regular romance. It has some supernatural, some fantasy in it, but like it's like just straight up young, quirky, like kind of drama. And I like it. The other drama I'm going to be covering is Hunter with a Scalpel. That is more dark. That is more involved, but I find I am enjoying it very, very much because of the setup. So let's dive in. To begin, let's talk about Head Over Heels. For those who don't know what drama is about, it's basically about a high school student that is also a shaman. At some point during a shaman like hours, in comes this boy that it's very obvious he has a lot of like dark clouds around him. He's naturally unlucky and he is destined to die. But our shaman girly falls in love with him at first sight and is like, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna find a way and I will save you, boy, so we can be together. She doesn't say that part, but like that's basically what she's thinking. And so our goal in this is to get close to him, figure out why all this is happening and try and save him, right? And so it's kind of funny because obviously from his point of view, he's like, she is creepy, she's weird, like why does she keep following me? And so it's kind of a cute little thing. If you watch like Lovely Runner, it's kind of like that idea of the female lead is trying to like save the male lead. The only difference is that unlike Lovely Runner, where, and this is a spoiler if you've not watched Lovely Runner, skip like 30 seconds ahead of this, but basically the only difference is that there the male lead already knows the female lead and was already in love with her. Here it's like they are strangers and genuinely he just thinks she's weird, right? But still it's cute, it's fun, I like it. I really find that I like the main actress, Choi Hyun. She was also in Matchmakers, and I think that was what made me a fan of her. She has just the cutest little face, and she has, I don't know how to describe her. She reminds me of Tinkerbell in a way. She's kind of small like that, but she's just so expressive, and I think her eyes are like gorgeous, right? And so she's kind of why I'm watching this. She's just a joy. The male lead I recognize a little bit, but he's not, I would say, the main attraction for this for me. It's really the female lead. But again, it's a cute story. We kind of already know what's gonna happen. No one is gonna be shocked by this story, but still, it's a palate cleanser. Even though it has some dark moments, and more of that will be revealed as we watch more. But generally, it's just really nice, and I can't really wait for when the male is going to really fall in love with her. Because it's gonna be really good, and I think he's gonna be more protective. He's gonna really, live for her, essentially, right? Because as of this past episode, and this is a spoiler if you've not like watched the last few episodes that air, and I think we are currently on episode 4, right? His grandmother, the only person in his life at this point, passed away, right? And so he's really all alone, and so I think the female is gonna be that person that comes into his life and gives him some light and some joy. And I think it's cute, and I think you can't go wrong with this kind of plot line. The one thing I want to say though is that one thing that's funny about this is that so there are a lot of Chinese novels I've read that have this basic plot, right? Where you have this like cute, sunny female lead that is kind of trying to get the broody male lead to warm up to her, and it's really cute and nice. In those stories, a lot of time we follow them through their life, and it's almost like a coming of age story. And so you see them through high school where they meet for the first time, and see their relationship through college and through when they start working and then getting married, right? And so that's kind of how the progression of a lot of them work, especially even like Chinese dramas as well. That's something that like you see often. I would say that Korea doesn't really do this. Like if they want to do like a show, this kind of show, they're just like situated in one time period of their lives. So in this case, it's going to be high school, but I think that that's where it's going to end. I would have liked if we kind of saw them going to college, going to working environments, and just like watch their journey through all that and watch them be together. But Korea always does time skips. They don't do like a follow through the different eras of their life, right? So I am for sure I'm just certain that at some point they'll go their separate ways and then meet later when they're adults. And that's kind of how they'll end up together. But honestly, I wish they would like do that whole step of showing the story of how they grow and come to be like so bonded and in love with one another and will do anything for one another, right? But yeah, we might not get that. In this case, we might also just like end at high school, right? And that would be like the end of the story. But I would like to see something like that in future. But yeah, that's the first drama I'm watching. And I have to say I'm really loving it at this point. No notes, honestly, just really good. The second drama I want to talk about, this one is more involved, like I said. That's Hunter with a Scalpel. Honestly, I came across this by chance. And I was like, I have nothing to watch. Let me try this. And I have to say it's not as long, and I think it's kind of from like one of those like tiny OTT companies. It's like a very small production company or network that made this. So it hasn't gotten a lot of buzz, but I watched the first few episodes. I think I've watched maybe 6 episodes, and I think there's a total of like 16. So basically the story follows a forensic pathologist, and basically this is people that like go to crime scenes and like investigate. They do the autopsy, DNA, like sampling, all those things that hopefully will tell more about what happened, right? And so she's really good. She's top of her field. The odd thing is that there seems to be more to her, and we later find out that it seems that she used to aid her father in his serial killing when she was young. But I mean, she's young. She would not be able to like be tried for that because she was a minor. And I mean, she was a minor. Like I think she was like maybe 5, 6 when this was happening, right? And so she would be the one to do little things like clean the floor for him, right? And so she became his like little assistant, right? And I don't know how she got away from her dad, but when our story starts, she's already working as a forensic pathologist. She has nothing to do with her dad. She's not seen him for years, and that's when these like murders start happening that point to her dad, because she knows his MO. Like she was there for everything, so she knows how he kills, right? And it has her scared because like she, I guess, thought she left that like part of her life behind her. And so it's been really interesting to see her like react to this and realize like she's a huge victim, right? But it's kind of victim that no one will have pity for because she kind of aided and abetted. And also just the fact that her dad, if he's caught, is going to like blow back on her, right? No one is always going to hire her. Like she's going to be like a pariah in society for having a dad like that, right? And so she's at that crossroad where she's not sure if she should help the police catch him, or at least by the episode I had watched, she was still struggling with that and struggling with figuring out what to do about this, right? Because her dad is clearly taunting her about this, right? He wants her attention. He wants to do everything to kind of rattle her and make her feel scared, because that's just the kind of person he is, right? So it's watching her deal with that that's very interesting. I like her character because it's very clear that she's gone through a lot, so she keeps on a mask. She's very cold, definitely antisocial, and all of that is stemming from like all she's gone through, right? So she's very guarded and seemingly unfeeling, right? And it's very interesting watching that, like, facial expressions as like the police gets closer and closer to like figuring out that it's like her dad. She does it very well. She does not break expression, but the actress is good at like showing you micro expressions that like tells you that she's a little on edge about it regardless, right? And so I'm curious how this will go, right? Is she gonna help the police to catch him, or is she gonna try and catch him herself? Like, how is she gonna spin this? What I would like, because I've always kind of wanted a female lead like this, that she's vulnerable but she's also very strong, and she's seen a lot that like nothing phases her. I've always wanted this kind of character to be smarter than everybody, right? Ideally, how I would like this to end is for her to somehow get rid of her dad all on her own without anyone ever knowing, and just going back to her work, to her day to day, right? Like, I want her to be the one to catch him without any help, get rid of him because he is threatening her and threatening her livelihood, and just like take matters into her hands about it, right? Because at this point it seems like she's basically being haunted, right, as opposed to being the hunter. And I would like her to like be the hunter. I would like her dad to like have to worry about her, right? So that's a plot twist I wish would happen. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have watched, this is a spoiler, but I'm about to spoil it so you won't even know. But if you watched The Witch, which is a Korean drama, that's kind of how the character is there, right? At first you think that she's the one that's being captured, she's the one that is about hunting, but as like time goes on into the story, you realize that she set everything up, right? Because she wanted to do some real things, right? And she was looking for something, right? So she planned the whole thing. That's kind of what I want. I want her to like have more agency, right? And to get away with it because she's smart enough to get away with it, because she would not be killing because she wants to, but because she has to. And it's gonna be just be her dad. And she's really reading the world of an evil. So I want her to like Dexter, all right, to play a Dexter kind of like character and just like finesse everybody and get away with it, and just like go back to her day to day, and we all just like know that she's like a little killer murderer, but that's just the audience, right? But I doubt that's what's gonna happen, because the male lead, like the police officer, he seems that like he's gonna catch on to this, right? His character is built or set up in that way. But yeah, this is definitely interesting, right? And it's new to me, I would say. Like, I don't know if I see that many female leads play these kind of roles, right? Oftentimes it's actually male leads that have this dynamic in like crime dramas where it's a child of a serial killer, right? So this has been interesting so far, and I am loving it. The actress is very, very good. And yeah, I really have no bad thing to say about this. I just think it's really good. But yeah, that's really all I have in this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely rest of your week. Have a good one. Bye.